Florida's a bit of a different opponent than the one you just faced. I wonder, when it comes to lineup decisions and such, you don't like to change a winning lineup necessarily, but maybe a different lineup is more effective against Florida than beats Dallas. So how much do you sort of take into account, the guys that won that series for you versus this is a different opponent, and maybe a different type of player succeeds in this series?
Yeah, as a coaching staff, you've always got that decisions to make on what your team needs. If you're playing a physical team, you often match them and you want to become more physical. If you're playing a faster team, you want players on your team that can skate better. But you also run the risk of, if you become more physical, you probably get a little bit slower. And if they're a physical team, you want to probably play a faster game. So it's kind of a balancing act on, do you want to counter what they have, play to their strengths, or do you want to play to your strengths? So I think for the biggest thing right now is who's playing our best hockey and inserting those guys rather than trying to counter what they have.
I think I've asked you in every series about the physicality from your team. Do you expect it to be the most physical that you've seen so far in the playoffs, and how do you feel your group is equipped to dictate or deal with that?
I think we've handled it well. I think, you look at the hit totals after every game, and you think about, the team that has more hits is more physical. And, I think about some of the games in the Dallas where we were very high on that hit total, higher than we usually are. And, sometimes that says you don't have the puck enough. We want to be a physical team. We want to hit. I think we've had some physical series, and some more than others. I think we were more physical in the Dallas series on the finished checks. But as for what we've seen so far, for the physicality for a series, the series against Vancouver was probably our most physical series or opponent. Now, as physical as Vancouver was, I expected to be even more against Florida.
So back here. Kris, do you have any update on Evander Kane? Do you expect him to be able to start the series for you?
I do. I don't believe he'll skate tomorrow. I think he'll be on the ice Friday and playing on Saturday.
You just mentioned a lot of the physical aspects. Do you think this is a series that can kind of suit his eye a little bit better, and that he could be a bit more significant, given that the Panthers are a little bit more pesky and maybe play after the whistle more than some of the other teams you face in the playoffs?
Whatever they choose to do, I'm not sure. We'll be playing hard between the whistles like we always do, and there's stuff that happens after the whistles. We're going to avoid that. We're going to just play hockey between the whistles and play our best. I think that we want to be making plays, and I think we defend well, and we don't want to get away from that. And they've got their style of hockey that they want to play, and there's a style that we want to play, and we're going to try and adhere that as much as we can.
Kris, do you know Paul Maurice at all?
I do. I actually interviewed for a position with him in 2015, and that was the first time I met him, but I do know Paul.
Where was that?
That was in Winnipeg. I met him at the draft. I think maybe that was 2015. That was a pretty special draft. That was in Florida.
Yeah. Was that one of those ones you had to sell yourself to him, or what? Because you didn't obviously get the job.
I was young. I don't think I was what he was looking for. But I remember Paul being very, very kind and almost offered to be a mentor for me if I needed to reach out and talk to him, and which I did. A couple of years later, when I went to Philadelphia, I reached out about my possibilities of becoming an American League head coach or going to the NHL as an assistant, and I remember him giving me advice. So, I don't know him very well, but I do know him.
One last one. So does it, when you're going up against a guy who's coached 130 playoff games and you somewhere behind that, do you look at the guy on the other bench at all?
I look at what our team's doing and what we need. Obviously, through the pre-scout and our preparation, we have to know what the Florida Panthers are doing and where they're successful. But yeah, no, it's just have to worry about our team.
Morning, Kris. How much has this team fed off of Corey Perry since he arrived in Edmonton?
Well, I think Corey's been a great addition to our team. You know, with his play, you know, the game within the game, those little things that he does very well. But I think his leadership has been the strongest part. You know, you've got a team you got a player who's gone through pretty much everything. Stanley Cup Finals, Stanley Cup Championship. And, you know, I think he's been just another piece to our team, adding that leadership aspect, where I think we've got a lot of that in that room, but I think he just adds a little bit more of it, just having the success that he has.
When you had to take him out of the line, by all accounts, Corey was still the exact same teammate and being cheerful around the guys. Can you describe the impact of that mindset and having that mindset and how that kind of maybe impacts the guys who are playing each and every day on the ice?
Well, I think the guys just have so much respect for him, you know, through it all. And you know, he's spoken up in the dressing room, said how things have to be better or what we're doing well and all those things. And when he speaks, guys listen just because of his resume. And you know, when he wasn't playing during the playoffs, you know, he didn't change. He was still optimistic about you know, coming back in the lineup, helping when he can. But even when he was not playing, he was supportive of all his teammates and wanting the team to have success.
Hey, Kris, we're here. You're going to get asked this question about 1,000 times from now to the end of the series, but I want to ask you about the pressure that comes along with being a Canadian team in the final and trying to end this drought.
I think with a team, it's all about accomplishing something for the guys in the room. You know, they feel very close. They're tightly knit. And they've been through a lot of ups and downs, and they've been a lot of the, especially our veterans, our you know, Connor and Leon, Ryan, Darnell have been through this for quite a long time. They want to win for each other. I think that's the biggest thing, and the other part of it is wanting to win for the city. Obviously, you saw the support after Game 6 against Dallas, and you know, that's exciting. And you know, they want to continue that, and because they felt the support, they want to return that favor. And now, you know, for the rest of Canada, yeah, they can jump on board too. All the support we can get is great. But I think the biggest thing is, you know, wanting to win it for each other in that room.
We had 4 guys up here that have been to a cup final. I guess how important it is having that experience of guys that know what it's like, know what kind of a circus that can be, and just trying to keep the focus on the ice.
Yeah, I think the more guys, the better. And the Stanley Cup Final is different. You know, there's more media requests, there's more interviews, there's just more attention, there's more things in the papers. And I think it's good just to have those guys who've gone through it all and just settling everything down and making it feel like just a regular game. Because we just want our players to worry about playing the game, and when they're on the ice, just being able to focus and playing. And if you get too caught up in everything else that's going on, it often easily guys get distracted. But having those guys who've gone through it before just eliminates those distractions and allows everyone to just control the controllables, control what's important, and what's important is just playing your game.
Kris, can you kind of take us through your plan, maybe a little bit leading up to this? You get a little bit more time off. You're going to skate tomorrow. I'm guessing you'll skate on Friday. How much of this is, you know, an opponent that you don't see a lot of, but preparing yourself, but making sure that you don't over-prepare your players and try not to make the moment bigger than it is?
Yeah, I've always believed in, you know, if you give too much information to the players, there's paralysis by analysis. There's just, you can't focus on everything. You focus on everything, you end up focusing on nothing. So it's important that we give the guys the details that are important to play, But if we give them too much, it hampers their game. And we just, so for our preparation, we're going to focus on what is Florida's identity? What are they good at? And what are the things that we need to do well to eliminate their strengths? And the rest of it, we'll just have to play our game. Because if we, like as I said before, focus on everything, it's not beneficial for us.
This will be your first Stanley Cup final. Do you have a most memorable or favorite Stanley Cup you remember as a kid or teenager or young adult?
93 Stanley Cup Finals. Last year a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup. That would be my most memorable time.
So just a bit of a follow-up to what Derek was asking. You're playing a team that has a ton of Stanley Cup Final experience. They were just there last year. Is that an edge that you guys have to overcome, and how do you do that quickly?
Experience is good. I don't know how much experience is beneficial. You can ask the Buffalo Bills how important Super Bowl experience is. But I think the biggest thing is just having confidence to play, and when our guys are playing their best, they should have a lot of confidence.